Welcome to Reach Out, the program that highlights the amazing work carried out by local nonprofits, the wonderful people who lead these organizations, and the committed volunteers who give of themselves but wind up receiving even more. I'm Bernadette Wagner, co-director of Volunteer Washington County, and my guests today are Wendi Perry and Alesia McBean of the Doleman Black Heritage Museum. This organization, which was founded in 1974, seeks to preserve and enhance the history and culture of blacks in Washington County, Maryland, and throughout the United States through conversations, education, and community involvement. Among other things, Wendi and Alesia will share with us a brief history of the organization, explain its mission, and tell us its location and hours of operation, and talk about the volunteer opportunities that are available at the Doleman Black Heritage Museum. Welcome, Wendi. Welcome, Alesia.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm happy to have you here. Wendi, why don't you tell us a little bit about the history of the museum and maybe who your funding partners are, how you collaborate on the funding aspect of the museum?
Well, the history of the museum was Marguerite Doleman and her husband Charles started doing these little exhibits for, at the time it was Black History Week or month, or it wasn't a month yet, but it was a day. And she would take them into the schools and she started collecting things more and more. It got to be too big where she couldn't take it to the schools, so they started doing it out of their home, and the children would actually come from school to her house.
A field trip.
To take the tour of the house. And over the years, she just collected everything and anything, probably mostly mid to late 19th century, definitely 20th century, and even into the 21st century. She had an eye that well that she knew what was going to be collectible at a later date. So she was very keen and very wise on what was going to be necessarily helpful in telling the African American experience in Washington County.
And you are the curator there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and how long have you been in that position?
I've been there for 3 years. I think I started in 2010.
Yes.
And I started off on a grant that came in from the Institute of Library and Museum Science, and it was a grant that was in partnership with the city of Hagerstown, who administrated the grant, and that allowed me to create exhibitions and reading material as well as some school-age things, and as well as getting some of the information on the website. So if you go to our website, you'll see archives and photographs and things that are coming directly out of the collection. So it's first-hand information now.
That's terrific. And Alesia, you are the program director. Can you tell us a little bit about your role?
Yes. I do want to go back and correct something that Wendi has stated. It was the Institute of Museums and Library Services.
Oh,
okay. Okay.
Which is a federal, it's a federal program.
Okay, great. But it still was administered through the city.
Right.
Well, it was procured through the city because it was on the city's list of it was a list of things, basically a wish list to our congressional leaders, asking them, this is what the city needs and this is what we need funding for help with. So we were able to get that on the list in 2008, and then it was granted in 2010, and that's how Wendi was able to be brought on as curator for the museum. But at that time, prior to that, I do want to also state that the Doleman family collection is not the Doleman Black Heritage Museum.
Okay.
The collection is and was started by Marguerite and Charles Doleman, and that is what spurred the organization.
Okay.
And the collection is actually on a 50-year loan to the organization.
Okay.
So that's why the organization itself, which was established in 2008, that is why it is important for the organization to draw that line and have the gallery that highlights what is in that collection that has been loaned to us. We were able to, through that Institute of Museum and Library Services grant, we were able to create 8 exhibits. Going back, though, there had to be a feasibility study to see if this collection was worthy of having its own standalone museum. And that was done through a grant from the Maryland Historical Trust with the city of Hagerstown.
Well, that's really good information, and because we don't want to use up all our time on that, I think that's available information that people can look on the website.
Yes.
Well, let me ask you, Alesia, where is the museum located and what are your hours?
It's at 540 North Locust Street, but unfortunately, because it is a living museum, it is in the original home of its founders, it is by appointment only.
Okay.
And we do have the number, or I did submit the number to you. You can give them a call at the museum. You'll probably get the voicemail.
And it's also located on the Volunteer Washington County website. So
Okay, good,
if folks want to check it out, that's another access point.
That's good, yes.
Wendy, how many people visit the museum on a yearly basis?
It depends. Right now that we're doing the traveling exhibits, we do set them up at different events. So we'll get hundreds and hundreds of people that see the exhibits that we send out. And that way we also get a chance to talk and interact with the community and sort of give them a heads up that we are looking to expand. We're looking to find a location where we have regular hours. And the story is so rich in what it has to offer through the collections alone. There are many, many stories to be told that haven't been told yet that are part of that collection. So that's why we're looking to find a better location where we can have regular hours.
And we have just a few seconds. I was wondering if each of you could tell me one achievement or one collection or one piece that is really special to you.
Well, I think the fact that we have a mobile exhibit that can come to you, and that is important to me, because if it would not have been for the Institute of Museum and Library Services, we wouldn't have that. So now it's important that we can bring it to you, and that it's
Makes
not
it more accessible too.
It's more accessible, and also you get that one-on-one. The person that normally brings it to you is Wendi.
Okay, and Wendy, how about you?
I have to say, and it's a piece that you don't see in the traveling exhibit, unfortunately, but it's a slave quilt. And it was passed down through different family members, and it sort of shows you pre-Civil War, and it shows you how Washington County has always had a part in what was going on as far as the American experience in this area. So it's very significant.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. I'd like to also thank you, our viewing audience, for tuning into today's show. It's important for citizens to know the history of their community, because in understanding the past, we do a better job of navigating the present and ensuring a brighter future. Winston Churchill once said, "Study history, study history. In history lies all the secrets of statecraft." We are fortunate to live in an area ripe with historic significance. There are many ways to delve into the history of Washington County, and I encourage you to check out the Doleman Black Heritage Museum